everyone. Thank you for tuning into an episode of Under the Influence. For today's episode, we are featuring the Love Luxe staff. Woo! Hey. Do you guys want to super quick, just introduce yourself, and then we'll go straight on into it and let you know what's going on today.
Sure. I guess I'll go first. I'm LaToya. At LaToya_Diana on Instagram. Yeah. Follow us. Also follow Love Luxe Media on Instagram. Yeah. But yeah, I am the Director of Social Strategy and Marketing.
Hey guys, I'm Briana, and I am the Director of Partnerships and Branding.
And what's your handle?
Briana May 27. Thanks.
Hi guys, I'm Ashley and I am the Love Luxe Event Specialist, and my handle is Ash_Nicole C.
Hi everybody, I'm Ziajah. I am the Editor-in-Chief of Love Luxe, and my handle is Ziajah in Style.
Yep, and I'm Shakiki. So, Shaqiuerra, my handle is Shakiki_20. So I'll have everyone's Instagram links inside this bio. Make sure you go follow all of the Love Luxe staff, and make sure that you subscribe and like this video. The Under the Influence series is one where we discuss hot topics inside the news and controversial issues. In today's episode, we are discussing the Natural Hair Discrimination Ban, which has been into effect in New York City starting last week. And if you guys haven't already been keeping up with our articles, make sure you go check out the Natural Hair Ban article, which we covered on Love Luxe also last week, and I'll put that inside the link as well. So to start off with, what is the Natural Hair Discrimination Ban?
Ooh, take that to Ziajah.
Yeah, they're reading.
Okay, so for those who may not know, New York City just recently created a natural hair discrimination ban. They created that so that employers and people in public spaces can no longer discriminate. And in schools can no longer discriminate against people who choose to wear their natural hair.
Yeah. Previously, in a lot of schools and in how she was saying, in some workplaces, there have been people have been able to kind of be ridiculed for wearing their hair in an unruly way, or in a way that is deemed to be unprofessional or up to society standard. Inside the article, we also included an example where a student athlete at a high school was asked to shave off his dreads in order to compete in a wrestling match. Do you remember the school? I don't remember the school.
Was it in New Jersey?
Yes, it was in New Jersey school. Yes.
Newark, maybe?
I think it was South Jersey.
Oh,
it was in South Jersey.
Sure.
I'll the link to the article will be inside there as well. So definitely go check it out. It's very interesting. The kid, the boy, he did decide to what'd you say?
It's Millville.
Millville. It was Millville. Yeah.
Millville.
So he did decide to cut off his dreads so that he could compete, and he won. So. Yeah.
Could have won with his dreads though.
Yeah, he could have won with his dreads without cutting it off. But just to kind of because our staff is natural, with us having natural hair, and with New York being the first place to uphold this new law, what is you guys' take on this? How do you feel?
I think it's long overdue.
It definitely is.
Yeah, especially in workplaces too, because there's been times when people have been told that they couldn't have a job, or they couldn't be present in a meeting or something because their hair was in braids even, or it wasn't pressed straight or something. That has nothing to do with their workability.
Yeah.
And then if someone's natural hair state doesn't fall flat like that, that's not fair to then be oh, you're unruly, you're unkept.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that a lot of kids, because you can even take myself for example, didn't know, because of society standard, you didn't know that your hair was curly, because from the beginning, I've basically been straightening my hair, putting perms and things on it to make it more manageable. I never knew until very recently that my hair is actually naturally curly. So I am 9 months natural, we're in the natural hair community, we're all little babies, where's my baby? Oh, she's 9 months today. So like something that we always like celebrate, but I think it's really great, especially for how we were talking about with the schools, with people like little kids, you know, growing up and being told that they need to leave school grounds or be suspended or whatever to be out of class because their hair is
distracting.
It's distracting. They said obstruction of view.
Like,
what view?
But
what you trying to look
But
at?
Johnny can come to the class with a mohawk, but that's not obstruction.
Right.
That is a very good point. That is such a good point.
Or you know what's the better point is? Because when I was younger,
Please tell us.
What's the tea, sis?
What's the tea? Okay, so let me tell you. When I was younger and I was in elementary school, all of the obviously it wasn't black girls because we didn't wash our hair like that. I think my mom washed my hair like maybe once every other week. And it was so weird to me how, you know, white girls would wash their hair like every day.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're not going to wash your hair? I'm like,
For what?
yeah. I'm like, why
They
would
used
I
to be
do
like
that?
disgusted by them.
They were
Like, everyone's hair is
But who had lice?
yeah.
But who had the lice? Who had the bugs rolling up in their scalp? Like, not me.
You're not wrong.
It was you. And that was like something that I just never understood. Like now, you know, like as I'm older, I'm like, okay, so like they had lice because their hair was like constantly washed, and it was something that like the bugs were attracted
Breeds more
to
oil.
clean hair, and yeah, exactly. So for me, that was never an issue, but like I was always told that my hair was unkept, that my hair was unruly, and like there was just sometimes like I feel like when I remember like a teacher saying like he just needs to do something with his hair, like his parents need to do something with his hair. I was like, his hair is his hair, like as long as it's being kept, you know, in a healthy natural state, then what's the problem with it? And like literally like what you said, I didn't know my hair was curly either, because as soon as I could get a perm, like maybe at like 7 or 8 years old, I got a perm, and like people would be like, oh my god, like your hair is so pretty. So like when people told me my hair was pretty when it was straight, that's how I grew up. I think my hair's pretty when it's straight.
And on the flip side, like with people saying like, oh, you should do something with your hair. What's bad though is like when you're like when you don't know that your hair is naturally curly and you agree with them, like, why is your hair like that?
Yeah, exactly.
That's something that's like that's so wrong, and it's like twisted and messed up that like because society has placed this standard of beauty that you believe that they're right when they're actually wrong. Our hair is beautiful the way it is. And I remember like I had a talk with like my my aunt and my cousin, and I remember saying that like whenever I have a daughter one day, like I would like leave it up to her, like whenever she's 16 or like maybe even 18, most likely 16, to like decide whether or not she wants to like straighten her hair or put a perm in it. Like I would, that's up to you, but like not anytime before then. I remember my cousin told me that like my daughter would hate me, but like it's interesting though, because like as I was saying, like when I was growing up, I didn't know my hair was curly, so it's probably the same way. I think the standard of beauty needs to change, and I think that with this new ban, it's beginning to change. I think that's what's the beauty of it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm like super, super excited about, you know, this law being in place. But I also, it's like I knew that people were getting discriminated, obviously across the country, but it's like when you think about that this is the only city in the entire country that has this law, I kind of feel like, are we safe anywhere? You know what I mean? It just kind of makes me feel, it's great, but it kind of discourages me as well, because I'm like, well, how long is it going to take for the city
to go all like national?
And the fact that it was New York, like New York is like one of the most
Right.
diverse places
Liberal,
ever, and it's like they
yeah.
just got it. So what about like Kansas?
What about
friggin' Idaho? Like,
It's interesting because it's like we're in 2019 now, and you think that like that everything is like up to par and everything is up to speed, but like it really isn't. But I'm glad that things are finally starting to change. Did we get any views from you, Brie, about your stance on it, and like how, like with you being you work, for those of you guys who don't know, Brie also works for a natural hair company in addition to working for Love Luxe. So how does that affect you in like your workplace and things like that?
For me, a lot of it comes down to like the workplace, because I'm fortunate because the team that I work with is like all Black women, and we've all expressed how like we're super, super blessed to be in that kind of a workspace, because not only do we work for a natural hair company that helps other women be able to embrace their hair and take care of it, we also get to work in a place where like, because that's what we're centered around, like we can show up to work with like an afro or whatever, a twist out or braids, and no one's gonna be like, oh, your hair grew
Sure. They're probably like, oh, go girl.
Yeah. So it's really great. But at the same time, it's like you just become so aware of how so many other Black women in like the majority of like the workspace don't get that, and they're like, oh wow, I wish I could. And like a lot of like when we have meetings with like retailers and like, you know, big companies, like corporate companies, and like most of the time the Black women that are there will have straight hair and like, you know, they'll like talk on the side or whatever, and they're like, oh, like I love this stuff, like, and they express like gratitude about like, you know, like, oh, I would love to be able to do it. And like you realize like it's not common, and it's because they're afraid of, even if they are like allowed to wear their hair natural,
you don't want
they're
that
going to be looked at differently, and
because that could be like the one reason that like, so say if they're, because they like are seen as unruly with their natural hair, that could be like the reason why that company is suddenly looking for a reason to get rid of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. They
or
may
they're
not
like,
even know it.
oh, she's not as professional, or they don't take her as serious. So it's I think it's amazing, but at the same time, I'm like, it's long overdue. It should have happened decades ago.
You're right.
And you know, I hope that it continues to, and I also am like, I hope that people will actually like, how long will it take people to actually act on it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The right way, because I know like, even with like civil rights stuff and everything, like there were laws in place, but like people were still acting crazy. So
they still act crazy.
I was gonna say, like, even with like going back to the workplace, like whenever I would do like an interview, I remember like I would take like the time for me to put my hair inside like a quick little bun. I was like, I'm not gonna like take any chances of me not getting like this job or internship, because I am going to slick this. I was gonna say. That's right back, and I'm gonna make sure I'm presentable and I'm seen as professional, because you know what, I am professional. I'm not gonna like, but with this new policy and this new law in place, maybe this is like a time for us to be able to rock our natural hair. And you know, it's kind of sad though, we have to sit here and talk about this and be like, wow, we can finally wear our hair the way that God created us to wear our hair. That is crazy. When you really sit down and talk about
permission,
it.
It felt like you had to pass a law, so it's like I had to ask you to be something that God made me to be, and
which
it's
is
just
crazy.
Insane.
All these barriers, all these shackles and like things.
Shackles.
Yeah, because you know what, we've been branded with like this.
Ooh, preach, Shaqiuerra.
They did brand us. They branded us in a certain way.
They did.
They because you know what's kind of crazy is that it really wasn't that long ago that slavery was in place.
Yeah.
However, the terms of slavery has changed, but it's still in place, and you can see that with even our hair. With something as simple as that, it's still in place, but the shackles are finally coming off. Slowly but surely. We still got a couple of other things to like work on, but we getting there.
Yeah.
And it's really sad to like to like really sit there and think about it, but I'm glad that things are starting to change.
Yeah. I was thinking, I kind of felt like the natural hair movement was like dying down.
Really?
And I thought it was because like, oh, well, we all are embracing our natural hair now, and it's not, like most of us, and it's not so much a question about it. It's not as risky as it used to be. So I was like, oh, is the natural hair movement dying? But now I'm like, oh, we have a whole nother thing to like overcome now that I didn't even like realize.
I'm like, hold on, girl. I just jumped on that too. Like I've been natural for years, but I still straightened my hair. It wasn't until I got my curly chop, which was over the summer, I believe, that I've been like
super natural.
Yeah, like super natural. Supernatural. I love that show. So of course I would find that joke. But yeah, no, like actually natural, and like now I'm like doing more protective styles and like playing with my hair more. But before I didn't want to be seen as the Black girl that had to hide her hair. And that's why I was completely against getting a weave or, you know, doing braids in my hair, anything that had to do with add-in or extensions, because I was like, I don't want people to think that I'm not proud of my hair. That's like a whole nother can of worms. And I finally was able to be liberated from that thought, because I was just like, I need to not care what you think. Like, it was like it's like a feeling of liberation, because like now I play with my hair all the time, and people are like, "Oh my God, your hair looks so good," and I'm like, "Thanks, I did it." They're like, "Can you do mine?" I'm like, $50. But at the same time, I'm just like, you know, like I never felt that way. I always was like, the girls that wear weaves are the ones that are hiding their hair because they had straightened it so much, and this was like, you know, this damage, and that they're like actually hiding their hair. And I was like, I am not that person. I was like, I've got some split ends, but like we're just gonna keep this rolling because I don't want people to think that way. But it's not about what people think, like, you know what I mean?
It's about like how you feel. And I'm glad that she actually brought up braids, because inside of the article that we were reading, it doesn't, I don't think that we actually said this inside this video yet. The natural hair, it doesn't just cover just like natural froze or whatever. It also covers the dreadlocks and braids as well, and twists, you know,
and also,
things like that.
just like protective styles in general.
Yeah, protective styles in general.
If you want to come in with your head wrap.
Yes.
I'm rolling up like that. I'm so serious.
To New York.
It's like a stigma against like people
with your hair scarf and stuff like that. But I mean, what do they put on TV? What do they put on the media every time they, you know, give somebody the mic? Like when they're trying to report on an incident or crime or whatever it might be. She's either, honey, her weave is up from the floor up, or she's got a headscarf in her hair, but the scarf is barely on. And I'm like, oh my God, like that's not how we look like on the day to day. I was like, you literally picked this girl from around the corner, like lurking at the corner store, like you couldn't have found somebody who actually can represent, like, and I mean, not just because you are black doesn't mean you have to represent your whole community, because I don't like that stigma either. But it's like you clearly see that this person is not camera ready for anything in this world, like too much.
That is annoying.
Yeah, it's a revolution for us all though. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you guys have any questions for us, we'll answer it down in the comments down below. Make sure you give this video a like, make sure you subscribe to us, and go and follow the team. The cameraman is right over there. Instagram below. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video.
Bye.
Under the influence.